Hello and welcome to season 2 of the Desmond's Flicks podcast. On today's episode, we'll be discussing two found footage mockumentaries, Be My Cat, a film for Anne, and Lake Mungo. Joining me on this episode is Celise, also known as Sweet and Spooky here on YouTube. Thank you for joining me on the show. What can you tell folks about your channel?
Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. So, I am Celise. My channel is basically just fun horror content. I talk a lot of shit on movies. Or if I really love them, I rant about them for like 20 minutes and you have to see me like gushing, which is annoying probably. And I do top 10 list. Yeah, I'm like horror content, but like with a sweet but bitchy side.
Which we were talking about right before we started recording. I love your channel.
Oh my gosh,
I
thank
do.
you.
I love your sass and how you just keep it very much like, hey, this is my opinion, take it or leave it. If you leave it, then fuck you. But just kidding.
Literally me.
But you give your own spin to it. And I love the fact that a lot of the films that you cover are lesser known films, and films that people tend to overlook. Was that something in particular that you wanted to highlight on your channel? Because with your first pick on this list, on our films today, that's a film that I haven't really heard talked about a ton.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's actually very important to me, mainly because I studied acting and I'm an actress myself. So I just feel like smaller films and like indie films really deserve to be talked about. There's also so many good horror films that are so small that get like lost in the cracks that you never heard of. So,
Which is a great segue to talk about our first film, which is the film that you chose and I'd never seen before, which is called Be My Cat, a film for Anne, which was released in 2015. And it was directed, produced, written, and starring Adrian Tofai. Tofi? Am I saying that right?
Tophe.
Tofay. See, you know
Only
how
because I've been gushing about this individual. I'm
it's
like, make
because
more
you're an
movies, please.
actress. I'm an
Yeah,
actress. I know accents.
I try. Maybe it's because like my name is Celise and everybody pronounces it wrong, like so bad. So now I'm just like, I
Get it
need to
wrong.
pronounce people's names correctly.
Did I get it wrong or did I get it right?
No, you got it right.
Okay, good. I was like, don't get this wrong. Don't fuck
No,
this
I
up.
feel like I would have corrected you.
Excuse me. That's wrong. So the film is about an aspiring Romanian filmmaker who is obsessed with Hollywood actress Anne Hathaway. And he goes to shocking extremes to convince Anne to star in his film. Some interesting background about this film is that the director came from method acting and theater, and he partially improvised the movie in his hometown in Romania on a budget of $10,000. He had never used a camera before in his life and had no crew present during shooting. It was just him and the actresses. And he met the actresses for the very first time in character with the camera on and kept only first takes in the final cut. So there was no script, only plot points. So, Celise, why was this the film that you picked for
First
this
of
episode?
all, we love to see a film done with no script, just picking up a camera, having a good time, being like genuinely creepy, and just having like these genuine reactions. I feel like this film was very intimate, and at some points I was like, is this like for real? Like, I feel like he's having too much fun with this, and that's why I really like it.
It was like it got uncomfortable, didn't it? It was super
Right?
like
Right? And these actresses though, like they brought their game.
and it makes me wonder how much of it was, them playing the character and them being like, okay, this weird ass motherfucker is like all up in my face. Like,
Exactly.
is he really gonna kill me right now or what's
Right?
happening?
I feel like at some point, like most of the girls were just like, we're dealing with like a crazy person. But like, it's great for the movie.
So I gotta tell you right off the bat, after watching this film, I was like, I'm so glad that you recommended this.
Yay! I'm so
This was
happy.
creepy as fuck.
Yes!
I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, and I was not expecting me to be like, "Don't go in there. What are you doing? Stop
Yes.
it." Oh god. Why are you letting him tie you up like that, bitch?
Right? Wait, I need to know actually what was like the moment for you in the movie where you were like, what is going on? Is this real?
I
Like, did you
would
have that moment?
Yeah, there was the moment where I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" is when he was doing the thing with the first actress where he first does it without chloroform
Yeah.
on the napkin, and then him putting it on there and like kind of giggling to the camera before he does it
Yes.
like a kid, like
Yeah.
I put real
I
chloroform
was like,
in
excuse me? What a great performance.
He was awesome. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And seeing like a picture of him as like, a normal person and not a psycho, I'm like, okay, he doesn't look as creepy as a normal person in the movie. Holy shit. And it's always like up his nose and up his face.
Oh my god,
And it's
yes.
just
It's like
everything about
obnoxious.
and his laugh.
Yes, I know. And just like how fast he talks too, everything is like chaotic energy, so it just gives you so much anxiety.
So speaking of that, with that first actress, when he keeps telling her like, keep me 1 meter away from you, but don't run, but I can do what I want. And she's like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense.
Literally, me in every audition I've ever had, I'm like, what the fuck are you asking me to do?
You're the actress. Figure it
Like,
out.
why don't you just do it then? Like, the fuck?
It was frustrating watching that scene because you could see the frustration on the actress's face
Yeah.
and how she was just over it. Like, oh my God, what the fuck? Why am I here? I need my parents back here. This guy is gonna murderate me. Like, this is
Yeah.
no bueno. When you first saw this film, what was the experience for you? Was it like, you just watched it as like a blind watch, or was it a recommendation from someone else?
Actually, I saw it a couple times on Letterbox, like a bunch of people were watching it. So I was just like, why not? I have nothing else to watch. So yeah, I guess it was a blind watch.
And from that first watch, were you getting those feelings of like, okay, this is like a little too real?
Yes, I was, specifically with I forget the character's name, but like, do you know when he takes that one actress to like the back alone and then he starts like cutting her?
Yes.
I was like, I was like, this can her screaming was like too real for me. So I was like, wait a minute, what's happening? And just like the way the footage looked, I was like, this looks like it could be real. Like, am I watching a murder happen? Is this like a
Ugh.
creepy snuff film?
And considering, I mean, $10,000 budget, we don't see much in the way of gore, but it's so effective just by those performances and then seeing the blood splatter against that
Yeah.
sheet and her
Yeah.
screaming, like you said.
Yes, it was far too real. Like, somebody give my girl an Oscar.
They were
Like,
great.
they were.
I feel like the turning point for me where I was like, oh shit, this is like going somewhere where I wasn't expecting was when he kills the first actress by strangling her.
Hmm.
That was freaky to me. That was super
Oh my gosh,
freaky.
it was. It was.
And he kept chloroforming her. He's like, I'm gonna give you a little bit more. A little bit more. I'm like, you are way too casual with this chloroform, dude.
Right? It was also like a bit weird. I mean, obviously it's on purpose, but like each actress kind of looks like Anne Hathaway from like different points in her life. It's so weird.
And even
Like,
one of the actresses pointed it out. So about one of
yeah.
the other actresses.
I loved it. It was so well thought out.
Oh my god. Okay. So you being an actress, if this dude, if you didn't know who he was, and he's like this random Romanian dude, hey, I want you to be in my movie, would you go and be in it and be like, I don't know, this is a little sketch, or be like, you know what? It's all for the art. I'm gonna do it.
You know what? I gotta be real. Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because this movie is literally what will happen to you. We gotta be smart. Like, get a contract, make sure this shit is legit. You know, we can't have a starry eye situation either.
I was getting so mad at the last chick because I was like, yo, you have his camera. That's like the one thing that he cares about because that's Anne. To him, that's
Right.
Anne.
Yes.
She should have kept that shit and been like, I am going to take her with me and you're not going to stab me right now. So I'm going to go ahead and leave with your camera, get a safe distance. He didn't put the knife down. He kept it in his hand the entire time. And she still went into a room and went into a corner. I got so annoyed with her. I'm like, stop it! Stop it!
Maybe because he's so like chaotic that she just doesn't know what he's gonna do. I don't know. I feel like I would have been so scared, but like, I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. But I feel like the ending was like so good.
It was. Oh
Right?
God. Okay, let's talk about that because that to me felt super real
Yeah.
because have you ever like because I've had my encounters with creepy dudes in the past and I'm
Oh,
sure you have.
too many.
And and there's those moments where you're like, "Okay, I'm going to go now." And you're
Mhm.
like trying to close your door and they won't leave. And you're
Ooh,
like, "Okay,
yeah.
what do I do right now? I don't want him to like get crazy on me, but I also just want him to get the fuck away." And her just like being like, "Okay, yeah, good luck. Okay, I'll give you a 30-minute head start."
I love how she's just like, I want you to do this for Anne. It's for love. And like, she's gonna love you. And I'm like, damn, sis, you're really trying to convince him. It's funny.
She was like so gung ho, like, "Get on a plane now and go."
She was just doing like, she was really using her acting skills. She was like, all right, I'm gonna act like I give a shit about this guy meeting Anne. I'm gonna make believe I care about him so he can just get the fuck out of here.
And even she was like, "Hey, if you have to kill me, I understand." It's okay. I won't fight you. And he's like, "Okay, I won't kill you. Go into that room."
Just like my favorite thing is the last line also where I think he asked her like what's like the final word or something. I
Yeah.
forgot exactly the line, but then she just says love and then it just like ends. I was like, damn right. This movie was great.
Do you think Anne Hathaway has seen this movie?
I really hope so. But I feel like no, because I feel like she would have talked about it. Don't
Yeah,
you?
maybe, yeah.
Or either that or maybe she did, but then she was so creeped out by it that she didn't acknowledge it. She was like, that guy's coming for me.
He's on a plane now.
Oh my gosh.
Final thoughts and, recommendation.
Oh, 100%. I feel like I talk about this movie All the time. Like, all the time, for no reason. Everybody that knows me knows about this movie, has seen it, because I'm just like, this is so good. Also, it being like his first feature film, I feel like it's very unique. No script, which is amazing. So I just feel like 5 out of 5. This is so fun.
Oh my God, totally agree. For a first film,
Right?
especially, like, it's pretty impressive what he was able to accomplish
Yes.
with that small budget and getting actresses who went along with something that they may have been like, this is sketch.
For real.
You can't see my face right now, listeners, but I'm like, girl.
I love the face because it's so me. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I'm like right there with you. This is a major recommend for me. I really dug this movie. I
Yay! I'm
definitely
so
want.
glad.
Oh, I'm so glad that you recommended it. So, our next movie that we're going to talk about is my pick, and it is Lake Mungo, which was released in 2008. And it's written and directed by Joel Anderson and starring Talia Zucker and Martin Sharp. Lake Mungo is framed as a mockumentary with some found footage elements. And similar to Be My Cat, actors were presented as interviewees, and they were given a very rough outline, but everything was improvised. So there was no dialogue written out, just an outline, and the actors improvised all their scenes. And the film is basically about a family trying to come to terms with the drowning death of their daughter, as well as the potential supernatural events they experience after it. And the director also served as the off-screen interviewer. So again, this was my pick on this episode, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn the tables around on Celise and have her talk about it first because this is my show. And this being a first time watch for you, um, what did you think of the film? What was like, how did you think of the film from the beginning, and what was your takeaway by the end of it?
Okay. So, not at all like shitting on anyone who enjoyed this film. This is just my opinion, like take it or leave it, whatever. Um this film, so I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it, and I'm kind of in the middle. There's a lot of people that hype this movie up, so I was expecting this to like blow my mind. And I feel like I started off very interested and intrigued, but then once we're at that point where we find out that the brother is like faking the images, then I feel like this took a lot of tension out for me. Because then by the end, it's like, oh, but it was real. And it's like, I get it was to throw us off track, but I feel like it wasn't necessary. And then it just kind of like made me go, really?
That is a fair criticism. I mean, honestly, I haven't seen, so full disclosure, I haven't seen this film in a very long time, but I remember the first time I watched it, probably around 2010, it creeped me out the first time I watched it.
Mhm.
Rewatching it again for this episode, because I was like, oh, this will be cool. Let's talk about a couple of movies, that one that I haven't seen in a long time and one I have never seen. And I have to agree with you on that aspect because it definitely took out a lot of the tension from those scenes. Because then we do actually get her ghost showing up, but it's like, okay, but how do we know it's not the brother again? Oh, yeah, he's out of
Exactly.
town, but
Exactly. It's kind of like, okay, so I get it. You were trying to confuse me, and like I was confused for a second, but now I figured out your game, and it's like boring. I will say though, they did set it up so that it was eerie and creepy, and the atmosphere was there. Everything was there. I just feel like that specifically bothered me.
yeah, the middle portion of the film definitely it the pacing is thrown off in the middle of the
Yes.
film.
Yes.
And I feel like the beginning of the film and the end of the film are the strongest points. That's the points that
Yes.
I remember the most.
Same. Literally same. I remember the end the most, like when they're actually at the beach and you see that like weird figure come towards you. I'm like, absolutely not. Everything in the middle, I'm just like, what
That
happened?
was creepy though. Yeah, that face coming towards her and it was her brown
Yes.
body. Like, I would bury my
Yes.
shit too, like, fuck, get this out of here. The one thing that I felt like the film did really well was, really kind of showing how people deal with grief and how they deal with it differently.
100%.
Some people will throw themselves into their work like the dad. Uh,
Yep.
the mom is in total denial and believes that her daughter is still alive because she didn't actually see her body. And the brother is trying to find a way to make his mom feel better by being like,
Yeah.
she's still here. But all you're really doing is making it harder for everyone to move on.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like that's the portion, the part of the film that I really like is how that's addressed, because that's very real. That feels very
Oh,
real to me.
yeah. Yeah. I think that the acting in like the interviews and everything, specifically the mom, was very, very real. So I really enjoyed that.
And there was this really cool part, and this is again near the end of the film, where they cut together the medium who's talking to the girl like a few weeks before she died, and then they cut together an interview he did with the mom, and
Yeah.
they basically like it's actually kind of giving me chills right now talking about
That was very good. That was very good. These are the only parts I remember about this
it. I know, unfortunately, that's
film.
true,
It
and I just
had a
watched
lot of
it.
potential. I just think it got a little messy.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember those points in the middle because it is, even though I just watched it, it's hard to remember. There was just too much exposition, and then
Exactly.
there was like the whole like thing with the neighbors who were
Oh my
swingers.
god. Yes, what was that? I was like I was genuinely confused at that point. At that point I was like, how are they trying to treat me right now?
Yeah, it was like, okay, so you're introducing them, but they had nothing to do with her death.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, this isn't legal and it's like fucked up, but still, it's
Yeah,
like,
it's
how does
like
this connect?
they were just like, she had a lot of secrets, and I'm like, okay, her secrets was that she was like having a threesome. Like, who cares? Like, like what does this have to do with this girl like mysteriously dying? Like,
I know.
we don't care.
I had a threesome with these sea swingers. I am just gonna
Like,
go ahead and drown myself.
like who hasn't had one? It's not that big of a
Right?
deal.
Even in 2008, it was like,
For real.
you haven't had a threesome yet?
It's just like it's not that big of a deal.
They would also like interview some of her friends, but then they wouldn't go any deeper into
Yeah.
those relationships. It was very surface level. Final thoughts, and would you recommend Lake Mungo?
So me personally and like to my audience, I wouldn't recommend this. Um I think I've seen better. I don't know. I think it didn't age that well and I feel like it was a bit messy. I think it was creepy, but it didn't really do it for me at the end.
Yeah, I it sucks for me to say this too because I really liked it when I first saw it. And I think if you're just starting to get into like found footage or mockumentaries, or if you're more of like, a horror fan that doesn't want to like do a ton of like super creepy movies, this is a good one to start out with. I think this is a good
I
starter
agree.
horror film. Especially if you're, with a friend, you're like, you want to watch something kind of creepy?
Yeah, for sure. Like if you're in high school and you have a sleepover, like I think it's a good watch.
Yeah. It's a good little creepy movie for, your normie friends.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who's like, I want to see something fucked up, you're not gonna really get that in Lake Mungo. Like
Yeah.
Celeste said, it hasn't aged well. And if I'm gonna pick a mockumentary or a found footage film between these two, I'm gonna go with Be My Cat. Thank you so much, Celeste, for joining me tonight. Where can folks find you on social media?
So everything should be Sweet and Spooky official, like my Instagram. Actually, no, I'm a liar. My letterboxed.
Liar.
my
She's a liar.
I am. My letterboxed is a lover's epilogue. You can find me on there. And yeah, my YouTube is just Sweet and Spooky, not with the official on there. But yeah, that's it. I'm so
Folks,
bad at like plugging myself and talking about myself. I'm like, who cares? You know, like who cares about me?
I care, and the listeners care, and all your wonderful subscribers care. You just hit what, 600?
I am almost at 700.
My God,
I'm
that's
like
so
at
quick.
695 right now, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
You're gonna be at 1,000 in no time. I'm so excited for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Folks, I've left a link to her channel in the pinned comment. Go and show her some love if you haven't already subscribed to her channel. She's a fantastic content creator. And I know that you're gonna blow up this year. Your channel is fucking awesome. And I'm not just, blowing smoke up your ass. Like, I really mean that. Um,
Thank you so much. That's so sweet.
absolutely. Be sure to leave a like on this video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time on the next video. Thank you again to Celeste for joining us. And I love you guys. Have a good one.